Cup check. The Florida Panthers win 4-3 in Game 3 of the 2024 Stanley Cup Final, and they are now 1 win away from the first ever Stanley Cup in their franchise's history, unless the Edmonton Oilers do something that hasn't been done since 1942 by the Leafs, by the way. That's how long ago that was, and overcome a 3-0 series deficit in the Stanley Cup Final. I'm Steve Dangle. Let's talk about Game 3. Might not be many more of these. So, the reason you're getting this the day after, by the way, is because tonight we had a live event. We sold out the Boston Pizza in Stouffville, and I actually did my stream for the game from there. That was a lot of fun. And this is a lot of fun, and I hope you like it, because I pressed record after 1 in the morning. Look, the game is one thing. You watch the game, and it's a lot of fun. The day after playoff losses, especially big ones, the game gets dissected into oblivion. So let's contribute to that by dissecting all of these goals into oblivion. Here's the way I see it. Could the Edmonton Oilers win 4 straight games here? Yeah, I know it hasn't been done since 1942. I don't care. The usual rules don't apply to the Edmonton Oilers because of the stars that they have. Like last year, look at their team and look at their strengths, and their strengths are obvious. McDavid and Draisaitl and all those guys who score. What changed this year that got them to the final? But in terms of personnel, like really what is going to happen? Over the next 48 hours, you're going to talk about scratch this guy for this guy and this guy for this guy and play this guy with this guy and this and that and all the minutia. But like, look at the Oilers last year in terms of defensive personnel, especially compared to this year. It's not that different. Look at net. It's not that different. The Edmonton Oilers have added better defense to the repertoire, and they've gotten some good goaltending performances out of Stuart Skinner in their wins, and that has led them deeper into these playoffs. They're still losing games the way they always lose games, which is just losing their man. And they try to score their way out of trouble, and they're so good that they almost did it. Heck, if it weren't for an incredible save from Sergei Bobrovsky when the Oilers brought themselves to within 1, they would have tied it, and then I have a hard time picturing them losing that game. But to me, this loss isn't about something that the Oilers lack, and I hope to talk about that. It's something the Panthers have. What do the Panthers have besides the best team in the National Hockey League? The best team in the National Hockey League. And there is a difference between those two things I just said. On paper, are the Florida Panthers the best team that you can compile in the NHL? Like in terms of who they have in net, who they have in the back end, who they have up front? Honestly, I don't think so. They're good. They're really, really good. I put them top 10. Top 10 for sure. But no team in the NHL plays as one cohesive unit like the Panthers. It's one of the most impressive things I've seen in recent years. It really is. Every team, when you get to the Cup Final, like there's only 2 teams, right? It's only one series, and you get to analyze everything to death, and I do that in these videos and when I stream the games. Tampa, I mean, they were just better than everyone. Colorado, to me, was just firepower. Vegas was big. The Panthers, they got a little bit of everything. They can score. Are they the best scoring team in the league? Nah, they're good at it. They can defend. Yeah, they can defend it. Like, who's their stalwart back there? Like, we've talked about this on the podcast before. Like, every year there's a Cale Makar or an Alex Pietrangelo. Like, who's Florida's that? Ekblad? Maybe? Montour? No, it's not Montour. He's good. He's not good in that way. Forsling? I mean, like the category, the quality of player that we're talking about is like Victor Hedman, right? Like Zdeno Chara, right? Like Duncan Keith, right? You got a goalie. There's lots of teams who have made it this far to be 1 win away from the Stanley Cup. Lots of teams have a goalie. Sure, it was Andrei Vasilevsky for a couple years, followed by Darcy Kemper and Aiden Hill, but lots of teams over the last forever have had goalies. No team plays as a cohesive unit like the Panthers. They turn defense into offense and offense into defense all the time, and in a way that the Oilers just can't compete with. What we saw in Game 1 and now in Game 3, it doesn't matter if the Oilers have the puck more than the Panthers. They did by a wide margin. It doesn't matter if the Oilers take more shots than the Panthers. They did by a wide margin. The Panthers are wildly efficient at what they do. The Oilers just don't have an answer for the counterattack. Goal 1, it just looks like a nice goal. Gus Forsling sets up Sam Reinhart. He tips it in, as Sam Reinhart has done so many times this season. That's it. Nope. For me, this goal, like so many Panthers goals, it's hilarious. If you go back and watch the highlights on NHL.com, every Panthers goal starts in their end. And in this one, you see Connor McDavid with the puck in the Florida zone. That's a good thing. You have the puck in the offensive zone and it's on the stick of the best player in the world. What could be better? Well, it could be better if he wasn't being shadowed by Gus Forsling the whole time. It's turned over at the blue line by Sasha Barkov. Oh, right, that guy, who was playing in this game, by the way. And he gets into the offensive zone, but the Oilers pressure. He sauces it to who? Gus Forsling. And you can see in this picture right here, McDavid's like, whoops! Like, it's a very subtle thing. Like, whether it was McDavid or another supporting forward who was supposed to come in, this goal goes in, not because Reinhart did a great job, like just beating Ekholm in front of the net, or Stuart Skinner let in a softie. No Edmonton forward, and that's their Achilles heel as much as their defensive personnel. No Edmonton forward picks up this player. Forsling was all over McDavid at one end. Puck goes the other way. Reinhart glides by McDavid. McDavid gives him one of these, like a little push off softly. Does nothing. Forsling's got all the time in the world while everyone scampers over to him, but they don't have enough time. He puts it perfectly on Reinhart, stick, and it's in. 1-0. All right, Steve, geez, okay, it's 1-0 Panthers. You're acting like the Panthers don't make any mistakes. That's not true. They do. Want to see one? Whoopsie daisy! This was the Panthers accidentally turning offense into not defense and a goal. They take a slap shot, they miss the net, it rings around. Really excellent read by not just Warren Fogle, who found himself in open ice with speed in the neutral zone, but Adam Henrique going, hey, that guy's open. Sends it to him. Look at how much space he had on this breakaway. It starts so far back in all alone, and the guy who got kicked out of game 2 scores. Tied game, 1-1, roof off the building. Panthers are not going to be able to compete with this. Well, that was nice and early in the second period, and it's about where the fun stopped. Now, this is the goal that I reacted to live with the most obvious reaction of all time. If you're a goaltender, tend the goal! Stuart Skinner did not do that. Now, you leave the net to play the puck, you just can't make a mistake. You literally can't make a mistake. You're the goalie. Defenseman makes a mistake, the goalie might stop it. But I hate to break this to a lot of goalies who are watching this right now, and my younger self would not have accepted this statement, but there is no such thing as being bailed out by your goalposts. That's just the shooter missing. Stuart Skinner leaves the net to play the puck. He flubs it. Tarasenko taps it in. It's just that simple. Skinner misplayed it, and that's why it went in. He's a big dummy. No, that's not what happened here. Because again, the Edmonton Oilers forwards can track the other forwards. They can track the attacking players. Here's Tarasenko coming in creepily, just waiting to see what happens. Waiting to see what Stuart Skinner does. Look at 55 right next to him. Look at Holloway. Dude, unbelievably casual. Like, no matter, like, I don't know if he's expecting the puck to come around the other way. Dude, it's not. It's very not. And if the puck does come his way, there's an Oiler coming behind him in support. Like, I don't know if he's waiting along the half wall or what. This is what allows Luostarinen to set up Tarasenko in front. He was in the right place at the right time, and he knew if there was going to be a mistake here, which there was always going to be a chance to, Luostarinen could just set up Tarasenko alone in front. No one else picked up on it. So again, if you're a goaltender, tend the goal. But there's another example of the Florida Panthers just, they're a hive mind. They know where everyone is going to be at all times. No one reads hockey like this team right now. And it gets worse. Puck is in the Oilers zone. That's not good if you're the Oilers. Don't worry, Darnell Nurse has it. And he just sort of throws the thing into where? I think he's trying to get it to his teammate along the boards. Dude, the guy right in front of you is waiting for an outlet. Like, it's right there. There's a giveaway. Now Tkachuk has the puck. Bennett's like, I knew it. And again, like, they just, okay, this is a very niche reference that not all of you are gonna get, but some of us stayed inside in high school. You know the Protoss and how they would communicate telekinetically using the Kala? That's the Florida Panthers. And most of you are like, what? But those of you who get it are like, oh. A lot of you are calling me a nerd right now, but a lot of you were like, that's actually perfect. It is. It's perfect. It helps if you played Legacy of the Void. And if you didn't, you're missing out. Kachuk finds Bennett. It's in. I guess the reason I'm doing all this is I don't want it to be, oh, the Oilers stink. Because they don't. They very don't. You know how I know that? They're in the Stanley Cup final. It's impossible to get there being bad. It is. It is. You can be like, well, there's individual players on the Oilers. I will not lie to you. Stuart Skinner has been up and down. Darnell Nurse has been down and further down. Both those guys are in the Stanley Cup final right now. What you're going to see is, over the next 48 hours, replays of mistake after mistake after mistake that the Oilers are making. The question I was asked is why are they making them? They're making them because the Panthers are all over you like poop on Velcro. You're making the mistakes. The Panthers are forcing you to make the mistakes. It's like a boa constrictor squeezing you tighter and tighter every time you breathe out. Is it a mistake every time you breathe out, or are you just breathing? This fourth goal is a perfect example. Once again, hilariously, the puck is in the Florida zone. Ekholm barely pinches. Barely. I wouldn't even call this a pinch. But the puck goes up the ice. The Panthers, again, with the power of the Kala, know where each other are going to be. Reinhart sends it up the ice to Rodriguez. Rodriguez has a 2-on-1 with Barkov. Nasty sauce. Barkov gets it. Barkov snipes it. And you can look at that and go, oh, it's a stupid play at the blue line. Oh, that... Dude, the Panthers read everything at a level that no one else is able to. Here's what the Panthers have been able to do in these playoffs. By the end of every series they've played, they convince a lot of people that the team they played against was bad. Like the New York Rangers won the President's Trophy. They ended up in the Final Four. They beat the Panthers twice. They forced 6 games. And you got people like me talking about the Panthers kicked their butts for 6 games. I'm guilty of this, and I think a lot of people are guilty of this. At the beginning of the playoffs, too many people talked about the Panthers like they were last year's Panthers. Last year's Panthers were brutes. Like, they just out-violented you. They did a lot of good hockey things well, but, they just butchered teams. I'm not saying they're not doing that now, but the hockey they're playing, this year's Panthers would mop last year's Panthers, if you had a time machine, which you don't. And this is why I say, don't turn that channel. This is why I say, you never know, because the Oilers, this close. Third period, the dumb ones haven't been there. In fact, the Oilers had 2 goals in the first, let me count, 8 periods of this series. Crazy. No power play goals either, by the way. Crazy. In 10 attempts. Crazy. But they finally get their dumb one. Philip Broberg shoots the puck. It looks like a dart. It's not. It misses the net. But it hits Niko Mikkola in the elbow, ricochets off of Sergei Bobrovsky, and in. The Oilers finally, mercifully, not just get a goal, they get a dumb one. You just throw it on net, throw it on net, throw it on net. Sometimes it's not going to go in. You expect one of the stupid ones to go in sometimes. The Oilers got one. Let's build on that. But the way the third period kept going and going and going, the Panthers just eating away at the clock. It really felt like the Oilers would never get back into this one until bang, they did like lightning. It happened in an instant. Connor McDavid doing Connor McDavid things. Great work down low. He gets the puck to Brett Kulak, who had a lot of time and space at the point. He fires it on. Ryan McLeod is in a net front battle with Sam Bennett. And I don't know about you, but on paper, I don't like that battle for Ryan McLeod. He gets the better of Bennett in perfect position, perfect tip of the puck, beats Bobrovsky. There's nothing any goalie in the world is going to do about that. And with over 5 minutes to go, the Oilers are within 1. And all of a sudden, what seemed impossible now seems like the sort of thing where you're like, the Oilers might win this in regulation. And dude, they almost tied it. This save from Bob. This save from Bob! Panthers fans, here's my question for you, and you can leave a comment in the comment box down below. In 2017, nope, 2018, the Washington Capitals played the Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup Final. Braden Holtby, early in that series, made the save. Fans just call it the save. You can talk about the save to any Washington Capitals fan and they know exactly what save you are talking about. Panthers fans, if you end up winning the Cup, if that happens in Game 4, not knowing what's going to happen in Game 4, is this the save? Oilers tie this game, all bets are off. You have no idea how that game is going to go. This is the save. It's unbelievable. It's right on the goal line. Oh, McLeod, this dude almost had, can you imagine? You're down 2 and you score both of them. The difference it makes in your career, in that city, your career in this league. But no, robbed by Bobrovsky. And with the final minutes of the game, every time the Oilers breathed out, the Panthers just constricted harder. The clock wound down, and it's amazing how quickly the energy went from they just might do this to the Oilers are the most screwed team the Stanley Cup Final has ever seen since the 40s. So, how do the Edmonton Oilers pick up a win in Game 4? Because that's where it starts. You don't have to talk about, oh, are they going to do it? No. It starts with, you got to win one. You got to win one. How do they do it? All right, you still have home ice. That's a positive. It's a Stanley Cup Final elimination game. So whistles they're gone. Like they're putting those things in a furnace right now where you're never going to see them again. I think you save every bit of energy you can though. I don't think you engage the Panthers after the whistles. I don't even think you engage in the chirps. You save all your energy for trying to blow by these guys, skate around them. What it is the Oilers are a team built on superstars doing superstar things. And they have to do that. A huge improvement the Oilers made this season from last is Zach Hyman. Now, Zach Hyman had an incredible season last year. He just annihilated it. This year, he's one of the best goal scorers in the sport. He's one of the best goal scorers over the last quarter century. Based on single season, yeah. They've got to completely change how they utilize him. Completely change it. And you might look at them and the amount of shots they had and the amount of ozone time they have and go, nope, they don't need to do anything different. If you play that game 10 times, they might win 9. I don't think you can look at it that way. I think you got to change up the dynamic of the top 6, and you got to get Hyman doing something else. You got to get Hyman doing something that's going to screw the Panthers up, something that they won't expect. Leon's getting a lot of the talk right now because he's a super duper star. Like, he's ridiculous. McDavid is getting a lot of attention right now. He's putting up points, though. He did miss that one defensive thing, I think, but like he's still a positive contributor. To me, they got to get Hyman going. That's a big deal. How on earth do you do it? No idea. Like, you need offense. You're really struggling to score against these guys. Like, are you able to turn to a Sam Gagner? Does that make enough of a difference? You have to come up with something. Otherwise, your season is over and you put the maximum effort in and got none of the reward. So, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Game 4, the Cup will be in the building.